Hello, MotoAmerica fans. It's time for another episode of Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and you may even learn something from this unlikely pair and their special guest. The mic is yours, Paul and Sean.
Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Carruthers, and welcome to our weekly motorcycle racing podcast, Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. Obviously, we focus most of our attention on MotoAmerica. That's who pays the bills around here. And I've got Sean Bice to my left or right. It's hard to tell on this thing. And then below, we've got Xavi Forés, our 2023 MotoAmerica Supersport champion. Before we get started, it's a sad day for any motorcycle road racing fans as we woke this morning to the news that Anthony Gobert had passed in Australia. He was obviously a heck of a talent. I was fortunate enough to cover his racing as the editor of Cycle News back then. And I can tell you, as most of you know, that the talent was immense. He also had off-track troubles that are well documented. And at this point, I just feel really sorry for his two brothers, Alex and Aaron, and also his mother, Sue. So our thoughts and prayers are with them. And with that, we'll get to something a little more positive here and start our chat with Xavi. So Xavi, welcome to the show. And you're all the way over in Spain, but it looks like you're right next door. So thanks for joining us. And Sean, why don't you get us started with talking to Xavi?
Okay. Yeah. Xavi, before we get into talking about what you're going to do this year, I want to talk a little bit about last year. So you raced in Supersport on a Ducati Panigale V2, and you started a win streak that when you were on it, I thought you were going to win every race. I didn't.
So did he.
Think you were not. Yeah. And it came to, I think it was Laguna Seca, wasn't it? When the streak broke.
No, it was
Brainerd.
It was, I'm sorry. Oh,
Brainerd.
It was Brainerd. Okay. So
Brainerd.
from that point on, and I think I talked to you, and I think I heard it, and I think I maybe even saw some issues. You started to have some front end issues with that bike. Was that what caused the stop to the streak? What caused that door to slam like so hard shut like it did?
Well, honestly, everything was going quite well until we arrived to Brainerd. Suddenly there, I started to feel my bike was not powerful as the previous races, and also the bike wasn't suiting perfectly on that layout because it was a bumpy track, and I was struggling a lot, especially on the fast part of the track. And I was the maximum I had on my hands was to do 6th or 7th and 4th in both races. So I was very disappointed with myself also because I was not able to manage that weekend as I wanted. But after winning the previous 8 races, I had enough points ahead on the championship to defend the title fight. And from there I was experiencing a different kind of championship for me, but always trying to do my best and always trying to win the races. We came to Pittsburgh, we came to Cora, we came to New Jersey, and it was a little bit more hard for me to defend the winning ways. But I did the best I could, and at the end we got the championship back home, which was the important thing.
To me, I remember the first time we saw frustration in you was at pit race. I think after in the press conference after, I could tell you were upset and no longer comfortable and worrying about different things, and you weren't the same Xavi that we saw in the races before. But again, that was an issue where you felt the bike wasn't where it needed to be or where it was.
Yeah, well, in Brainerd, I was expecting to do a little bit worse because the track wasn't suiting the bike. But in Pittsburgh, I was overriding all the time. I went on the track. I was overriding. I had no more on my hands. And I was seeing the other riders were just waiting to the straight and passing me. Or if I had a little bit of gap, I was getting recovered a lot in the power terms. And that was for me, was unacceptable in terms of putting the class equal. I felt that I was a little bit uncovered on that area, because everyone was putting the finger on me that I was winning because the bike was fast, but nobody was looking at how much I was smoked on the straights, especially Road America and some of those longer straights tracks. But in Pittsburgh, I was expecting to win one of those races. I was beaten firstly from Stefano and then from Tyler Scott, and there was a huge disappointment because I wanted to grab the title there because my family was there, and it was kind of a lot of circumstances surrounding me, and I was a little bit pissed off. But then, in Cora was a little bit different. I won the race there, and I won the championship there, and I started to feel a little bit frustrated because of that, because of the class wasn't 100% equal for me, or even for the Yamaha, for Josh Hayes. He was also in the same situation as me. He was struggling a lot in terms of power, and we've been trying to make it equal. I was trying to make the things a little bit equal, but it was not easy for that.
Yeah, and Xavi, I want to bring that up and really point that out, because we've talked about Supersport Generation a fair amount. I've written stories about it, but I think we still need to discuss the fact that it's a balancing class. People look at a 955 V twin and think, well, hell, in another era that was a superbike, but it isn't now, especially with the electronic throttle, the fly-by-wire, the fact that MotoAmerica and the FIM can say that it needs to be limited, and the throttle is used to do that a little bit, as well as some ballast possibly. I don't know exactly what it is, but people can look at it and go, how isn't he winning all of the races on a 955 V twin? Well, it's not quite akin to riding that bike with one cylinder instead of two, but it definitely is not. It's definitely not the full potential of that motorcycle, and it's got to be frustrating because you kind of overrode that bike a bunch of times. You even said, I can't do anything more on this motorcycle. And I'm not trying to place blame on our technical director or our situation. It's kind of it's a tough situation to balance all the time. And ultimately you did win the championship, but it had to be tough for you. The fact that motorcycle, what that bike can do, it can't really do what it does in that class. Is that correct?
It's correct, because honestly, since I came to Road Atlanta, which was the first race for us, I remember the first race on the last lap. I had a bit of gap on the back straight before to arrive to the chicane braking point, and I had enough gap to don't be passed from anybody. And suddenly the Suzuki passed me like quite easy, and they say, "Whoa, this is something that I have to deal with for all the season, because if I keep winning races, nobody is going to give me more power, or nobody's going to limit the other bikes, because they want to make the class equal," which is fair enough. So I said, I'm going to try to be more aggressive on the brakes, to be more aggressive from mid-corner. So my cornering speed was quite high this year. I tried to set the bike up to be on the infield all the time. I had to be a little bit more like that, more on the limit, in order to make the gap going, to don't be passed on the straight. That was my main goal. But I said, okay, if I'm winning after Road America, I was still winning, and say I can't complain with my power, because nobody's going to give me the power because I'm winning. So I started to complain when I start to don't win, and I start to feel that the competitors were being higher and higher and higher. But I know from the MotoAmerica side and from the technical staff, it's not easy. Sometimes I put myself into their position, and it's not easy to make the things equal, because we have a 750 Suzuki bike, we have the 955 Ducati, we have the 636 Kawasaki, and also the MV Agusta was coming later on. It's not easy to manage this situation. I completely understand them, and it's going to take, it's also the same in the World Championship or BSB. It's going to take a little bit of time to them to try to understand how to be completely equal for everyone. So, you as a rider always want to win. That's clear, but you always have to deal with something which is out of your hands.
I think the thing that makes it more difficult is when there's only one Ducati, because then they have to look at you and you're winning. It's just like if Josh Hayes was winning all the time on the Yamaha, they could look to like, okay, how's the second fastest guy on the Yamaha doing? Okay, we can change, but it just makes it more difficult because you are by yourself with that bike.
Exactly. It was impossible for us to compare with another bike or another Ducati at that time. So we had to accept every time they came and say, hey, we have to reduce the power, we have to change the map. We try to update the maps every time, and after every race we've been trying to review our mapping, but they say, well, the bike is going well, you don't need that, and then we gave up on that term.
Did you talk to the team, Xavi, from the point of view of the bike from the previous year with Josh Herron on it, or did you talk to Josh? Was that bike different in 2023 than it was in 2022 in terms of the balancing? Did they balance it more after Josh won a championship on it, or was it the same bike?
Yeah, well, sometimes some of the races was same, and some of the races I had more limitations. Yeah, I had some. So Brainer was one of them. I was not comfortable on the bike there. The bike was not sweating perfectly there. Pittsburgh a little bit too. So it was 3-4 races where we've been a little bit more limited than previous year.
Okay. I mean, it's a testament to how good the balancing is. It's not perfect, but man, I mean, to have to balance a 955, a 636, a 750, and a 599, just
it's difficult.
Really difficult, right? Yeah. So
Well, hopefully they're gonna have more data this year, because I heard there's gonna be like 8 or 9 Panigales on the field. So
there are.
I need to ask for my commission to Ducati.
Also, I can only imagine that the kids, not Josh Hayes, obviously, but the kids that you were racing with, they must have also improved as racers as the season goes by, because they're so young with so little experience. They're only going to get better and better and better. And I think they learned a lot from racing with you. And they would say that, they said, racing with this guy, world class and everything like that. It helped their riding. Did you notice those younger guys like Tyler Scott getting better as the season went on?
100%, because the first part of the championship, it was quite easy for me to overtake them on the brakes. I was braking quite late, and they were not that good on the brakes. And you see race 2 in Cora, when I was fighting with Tyler Scott on the last lap, we did a nice battle. It was very hard for me to pass him on the brakes, and I was solidly braking as same as previously. So that means that they were improving. They were always trying to beat me, which is good. And after the second race in Kota, me and Tyler been talking, and he said to me, "Thank you for being here this year. I learned a lot from you." And this is nice for me, because you always want to beat the riders, but you always want to be the reference to increase the level of the class. And me and Josh Hayes, we shown that both are still quite fast, and we can still be competitive on each class, because Josh Hayes also in Brainer did double Supersport and Superbike, and he was nearly on the podium on race 1. So in the end, is what I always say, age is just a number. As far as you keep yourself in a good shape, it's fair enough. You can race for a while.
Yeah, so Xavi, we don't know what the team that you raced for last year is going to do. Yeah, we had Josh Herron on, and he thinks he kind of indicated that he hopes and thinks he may be back in Superbike. So you won the championship for that team. You've got that number 1 plate. Are you going to be on that team in any capacity? And are you going to defend your number 1 plate? Are you possibly moving up? What's the plan?
No, I'm not gonna stay with the team for next year. Not because of me. I was supposed to do one more year with them. We didn't know Superbike or Supersport. I was accepting both of the classes with them. I wanted to stay with the team. I wanted to stay with Ducati. But back in December last month, they announced to me that the plans were going to change on the team, and they going to stop the Supersport program. So they say to me, we cannot afford one more season with you. And initially I was a little bit sad. I was not a little bit. I was really sad because it was December. There were no options around for me to stay on the championship, and especially because I was losing my ride on the team. But in the end, racing is business, and you have.
Oh, it looks like we've lost him, Sean.
Damn, it was going so well.
Well, let's see if he comes back.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about your you've obviously had experience with Anthony Gobert as well. You worked for Yamaha in their PR department. I don't know if you worked for him way back then or not, but yeah, it's quite a loss for everybody in the industry.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. And really, Paul, I come at it from the point of view of absolutely a fan. I mean, when I would go to Loudon back when I lived in New Hampshire, I'll never forget, and yet I know you know this well. He showed up on Saturday, and he put the bike on the pole. He missed the whole first day of practice and qualifying, and he came in and I think he was a little bit chunkier than he had been or whatever, but he just made it happen immediately and just made no bones about earning that pole that year. He was just like that. The guy could do things on a motorcycle. Another one I know that you know about, that race at Road America in the rain. I mean, he was way back and he won that race. Nobody knows how he gained all those laps. I've talked to Tom Halverson a bunch about it when he was on that number 16 Yamaha R7. And it's like, how the heck did he do that? Nobody really understands it, but the guy could just do that at will. It seemed like that. And that's my perspective as a fan.
Yeah. And it's funny because I would get so mad at him because he kept screwing up. Right. And yeah. I'd have to write about it. That was my job. And he'd say, Paul, why are you writing all these shit stories about me? And I'm like, Anthony, if you quit doing the shit, I wouldn't have to write the shit stories, But then he'd always laugh, and he was just impossible not to like. No matter how many stupid things he did, you just always embraced him and just wanted him to be okay. It's just tough.
Yeah, I remember one time standing beside another fan, and I don't know, I didn't know the guy at all, and we got into this conversation where he's like, that guy has talent that we would kill to have. We don't have that kind of talent. And look what he's kind of doing with it. And that's the thing that, doing with it, he actually performed well, but this other side, these demons that he had, that was the part that everybody was like, my gosh, you have everything going for you. Well, whether it was a chemical issue or an addiction or whatever it was, it was too much of a battle for him. He couldn't fight it.
And it's like, it was extremely frustrating for the other riders because there's guys that worked really, really hard. And then I remember at Daytona for the tire test, he showed up and he was just he could barely zip his leathers up. And he kind of looked like Mrs. Doubtfire at the time, and I'm just like, holy crap. And I talked to him and he's like, Paul, I'll just get as fat as I can and show him I can still beat him. And I'm like, okay. It looks like Xavi's trying to come back.
Xavi's back. Yeah.
Are you there, Xavi?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just keep talking, and if we can't see you, we've got a photo that keeps popping up. We'll go with that, but maybe we'll get a better connection. But let's continue where we were going so we can get through this good interview.
Okay,
Sean.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, Xavi knows.
Here I am.
There, he's back on. Go ahead, Xavi.
So yeah, I mean, I was saying to you that suddenly in December I was talking to the team manager, and he told to me they're going to do different plans, and I was completely sad to accept that I was going to lose my ride on the team after winning the championship and after So especially when you win races and you win a championship, the last thing you can imagine is that you are going to lose the ride. You always try to understand where are you going to be promoted and not to lose the ride. So I was completely sad because it was it was December. Everyone is set for the 24, and there are not so many rides available in order to stay on the championship. I want to stay in MotoAmerica, and my plan, the initial plan was to jump on the Superbike, but now it's been a little bit hard for me to say where I'm going to stay at the moment, but hopefully I can find something as soon as possible. Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff to unpack here. One of them is this number one plate that you earned. And, we've seen this happen in the past, globally, but certainly it's happened in our country in Superbike. I know Thomas Stevens is a good example. He won a championship one year and went to another manufacturer and put that number one plate on that bike. Well, he earned it, but that Kawasaki that he rode didn't. So you rightfully have a number one plate. Might you race a Ducati for another team in Supersport? Well, there's a lot of them in the class, and have that number one plate, or is that not even an option for you this year?
Well, as far as I can ride, and it's a good project on the table, I want to do it because I apart from being my job, I'm passionate of racing. So I love racing. So for sure, it's nice to have the number one plate on your fairing and try to defend your title. But when you have, when I did Supersport last year, it was a little bit of investing on myself, trying to understand about the tracks, about the championship, about everything, and then going back to the Superbike. It's the class where I always been racing for a while when I was in the World Championship or BSB or so. I can say yes, I can stay in Supersport one more year. It's not a problem, but my main goal is to do Superbike, and if possible with a Ducati bike. But again, it's not easy. Everything is quite late. Most of the budgets are closed right now to have a proper program on the table. But I'm still trying. I have till April to keep trying and trying to keep the things alive.
This has happened before. Actually, it's happened to Wayne Rainey, but because when he won he won the Superbike championship for Kawasaki, and then Kawasaki said, "No, we don't race anymore." So it happened to him. It's just not as usually the guy with the number one plate can say, "Hey, you want me, more money," but that's not the case in this situation. But
exactly.
We're certainly hopeful that you can find something. And I'm not asking you this to tell us how great we are, but I'm asking you this because you've competed in many championships all over the world. I'm curious to know, like, I know you like to come back to MotoAmerica, which tells me that you enjoyed the process, you enjoyed the championship. Is that the case?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm trying. So I have some options to ride in other championship. I'm not going to say I have zero options to ride, but not the options I want. I want to stay in MotoAmerica because I think my job is not done yet there. I want to try at least 1 year in the Superbike and see how I'm performing on that class and try to do a proper job on that championship. Then I will have time for myself to think about retire, go to baggage, go to another championship, or I don't know. But I'm very focused on being on the Superbike class in MotoAmerica because I was positively surprised about the tracks. I can say this to you because I was racing in another strong championships, national championship, and in terms of safety tracks, I was quite surprised positively. I was enjoying a lot. And also the series, I enjoy my time when I'm in America. I'm doing another business connections there. So I want to stay there because I feel that I can do more things related on motorsport when I'm off the bike. So this is something that it keeps me fighting every day to try to find a proper program. Yeah.
Now, I notice on social media every once in a while, you have a company that produces motorcycle parts. Is that your company?
Yeah, it's my company. We started in last year in Spain, and we are now producing carbon parts especially mainly for Ducati. And the plan is to expand in US in 24, 25. Yeah.
Oh, that's so it's nice to have a little something in the back.
Yeah, I'm starting to do that because I say myself, well, I have no contract. I have no money to come into my home. I need to think about some different businesses. But yeah, it's something that I was programming even on the past, and we put all the things together last year. Yeah.
Now I know some riders in this off season got a chance to ride a bagger. Some guys that had never ridden a bagger. Did you get the opportunity to ride or no?
Honestly, I had the opportunity to try baggers, but at that time I was fixed on the team where I was planned to race, and I had to say no to that the possibility to ride the baggers because I was fixed. So there is something that I would like to do to try out this bikes because everyone told me it's a good fun. I have my colleague Ruben Chaus, which is trying to well, he's not trying. He's going to race there this year, and he's doing some miles on the bike already. And he told to me it's a good fun, and maybe one time I will try his bike at least.
It's funny. Earlier in this podcast, Xavi, you mentioned the fact that we talked about Pittsburgh, and you talked about having your family there. And I remember your wife and I'm pretty sure your daughter was at that race as well.
Yeah.
And here shows up Ruben Chaus. Paul and I come out of whatever we did, our hospitality, and there's this tall guy standing there, and we're like, it's Ruben Chaus. What the hell's he doing in Pittsburgh? Well, we later found out why and how, and he's Spanish as well. So we know you know him. That's cool that you mentioned. Did you talk to him that weekend when he was at Pittsburgh?
Yeah, well, I was with him last week. I was doing some training days here in Spain for some riders, MotoGP, Superbike riders. I always organize one event during the winter, and he was assisting. And we've been talking about the 24. He was telling to me the program he has on mind to put in the MotoAmerica in terms of hospitality, creating a little bit of show to put everything together for his sponsors and partners. And I think he's going to do a good job in MotoAmerica, especially because he's still fast. And also out of the track, he has still a lot of good ideas in how to put the things together and create a good show for the championship and for the fans, for everyone. Yeah.
So you have ridden other various brands of motorcycles. You, of course, have ridden Ducati a lot, and you just won a championship with Ducati. I'm assuming your relationship with Ducati is what put you on that team last year. So it was kind of Ducati, I assume, recommended you to that team. So you have a relationship with them. Do you still communicate with Ducati? Are they helping you to try to figure out what could be a situation for you in the 2024 MotoAmerica Championship?
Yeah, obviously, when I realized I was out of the team, the first person I called was Gigi Daligna. I have a very good relation with him. When I was even on the past in the World Superbike, I did many tests for him for some ideas, parts he had on mind. So my relationship with Gigi was always and is still really good. And also with Paolo Ciabatti, we've been talking about the possibility to put one more Superbike in the championship. And I'm still talking with them. I'm still trying to understand if there is any possibility to put one more bike in the championship, even if it's a different structure. I don't know. I need to try to make this happen because it's my biggest desire right now. So they were always quite kind with me. Even when I was with other manufacturers riding, and I was always showing my interest to come back in Ducati, they always been there for helping me, and I was always quite grateful with them. So hopefully we can do one more year.
Well,
Okay, so sorry, I was daydreaming.
That's all right. He's a captivating guy. I mean, you just look at him, you fall into a trance. I know what that's all about.
So you got the chance to not only race here, but you got the chance to see a little bit of America. Tell the people like where you were based, and did you get to do any sightseeing things, or was it mainly just go to the track and go back to the base and go to the track?
Last year was a little bit crazy for me because I had the baby 2 weeks before to start the championship, and I had to leave for the Atlanta race, and then I had to come back. So the first 4 months, I had to be traveling back and forward all the time because we didn't have the passport for the baby. So as soon as I got the passport, we moved to America. And we started to be in Pennsylvania, close to the team, and then we moved to Miami, where I have some friends living there, and we spend most of the time there. So, as I told you previously, every time I go to America, I'm enjoying a lot my time because I like the American style living, and honestly. If I compare America to Spain in terms of job opportunities, business, and be related on motorsport and everything, it's more easy to find the way than here in Spain, because here in Spain we have a lot of MotoGP riders, we have a lot of Moto2 riders, Moto3, and if you are not one of these guys, it's quite difficult to find a way to go. So. Since I arrived there in America the first time, I discovered that there could be a good opportunity for me to spend the last years of my career racing there, and this is what I want.
So Xavi, you haven't raced at Mid-Ohio yet, and so we'll take that out of the equation, even though I hope you get a chance to ride there because that's my home track and I have a personal reason for wanting to see you there. But beyond that, of the tracks you raced at last year, what was your favorite track that you went to and why?
Well, the most special one for me in America is always Laguna, because I lost two good friends there from Spain in MotoAmerica back in 2015, and since there, every time I go to that track, I have like goosebumps. It's a mix of sensations because I love the track, but at the same time, I feel like I'm missing something on that track. But in terms of layout and in terms of enjoying when I was riding, Road America surprised me a lot. It was very nice track with the new surface, was really smooth, and I think it's a potential world-class circuit with no doubts. It could be a track where you can race 100% in World Superbike. I never been in Mid-Ohio, as you said, but since the possibility to race there came out, I saw the reaction of the riders, and everyone was quite happy to go back there. So this means that it's a nice track, and I think we can enjoy racing there. Hopefully, if I go.
Xavi, yeah, exactly. I'm kind of putting it out there with the potential that yes, hopefully you will be there. I want to talk to you about Tony Elias when he came into this country. He he made it pretty clear he wanted to live in America and loves America, had an American flag on his wall. I didn't know this about you, but early on this year, we discovered that you actually also have a lot of love for America, and also indicated that in the future, it's a possibility that you would like to live in this country. Do you still feel that way? And is it something that ultimately you do want to do with your wife and daughter and maybe the rest of your family?
Yeah, well, the plan is that I'm gonna move to Miami in March, even if I'm not racing in MotoAmerica, especially because we are starting the new business related on the motorsport with my partner, which is based there in Miami. So in a short term, it's my priority to move there because we signed the deal with a helmet company to do the US distribution. So I have to be there for working. In terms of even if I race there, for sure, I would like to stay there. I would like to stay there because, as I mentioned before, I'm enjoying my time there, and I see more opportunities. And even for my kid, for my baby, if it's better to teach in English, to have more future. Everything it's a little bit easier. But we need to figure out how we manage that, because it's not simple to leave all the rest of the family here in Spain, our house, because it's quite complicated. But yeah, it's the target, and we are working on it.
So if it works out that you put something together to race a Ducati and Superbike, whatever the team might be, could you put your logo of your company on that bike? Would that be something you'd want to do so that it coincides with you launching this brand in the US?
Yeah, that would be nice for me, to be honest. This is something that I put on the table already, and it would be important for me because I can bring a lot of things from Europe in order to help us to make this project coming out. So we are discussing all these things, and seems that it could happen, but I need to be a little bit more, how to say, I need to wait a little bit. I need to wait in order to put everything together step by step, because it's a lot of things that we have to make it happen, because it's going to be a new project, and it's not easy to put all together in 2.5 months.
Okay, Paul, I got one more for Xavi. Xavi, you're going to laugh, but I like to think of myself as a bit of a storyteller. So I got a story that I don't know if I was going to turn it into a website story, but it was something I talked to you about at Pittsburgh. You may remember this conversation. So I came up to you. I saw your little daughter. I looked in there, and she's so small, or was at the time, and she had earrings. And I was like, she already got earrings. I mean, she's an infant. And you explained something to me about Spain. Can you tell us about that? It's something I was kind of fascinated by. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, when in Spain it's a tradition, no? When the kid burns, when we are still on the hospital, they ask you if you want to put the earrings on the baby already before to leave the hospital, and we say, yeah, why not? We can make it. And then I say, well, let's wait a little bit, because the baby was too small. And I said, no, we go back home. And then 1 week after, I was seeing my baby on the face. I said, fuck, sometimes I don't know if it's a boy or girl. So I called to the hospital and say, we go for the earrings. So we put the earrings, and now it's more clear.
That's funny.
I was a little bit pissed, because every time we've been on the supermarket or everywhere, they say, it's a boy or girl. It's a boy or girl. Says,
Yeah.
No doubts. Boom. Earrings on.
That's funny. It's the total opposite of me, because my daughter always wanted to get earrings when she was young. I'm like, no, you have to be 15 years old.
Yeah, well,
like, why? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, here it's quite usual. I mean, when you're in the hospital, they offer to you to put it. It's most of the kids go from the hospital already with earrings. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, well, I'm absolutely that guy, Xavi. I'll Paul will attest. I go up and talk to anybody that's got a baby. I'll walk up, and I make no bones about, I don't know what the gender is, and of course I'm colorblind as well, so I don't know if it's pink or blue. That doesn't help. So you would actually help me with that earring thing. I think I could look at that and possibly guess at that point.
Yeah, I would hope.
That was perfect. It's a sign.
Hey, so we're going to wrap up here. Is there anything else you want to say? I mean, you're not defending champion in Supersport, but you are the 2023 champion in Supersport. You earned that #1 plate. We hope to see you back in America, possibly in Superbike, maybe even Supersport. We'll see, but it would be great to have you back because you've been really good for the fans. Absolutely love you. I mean, we hear about it all the time on our social media. So, is there anything you want to close with? Anything you want to mention or talk about?
Well, especially it's very much appreciated that I also felt the warmth from the people, from the fans, even if I am not American rider, because it's not easy when you are far from your house to have that support. I had a lot of support, and it's I want to thank everyone. In terms of racing, I hope I can make this project happening. We are still trying to fix the budget. Is as I mentioned before, it's not easy because we are already in January and the budgets usually are closed by October, November from the previous year. So the only thing I can say is if I have the chance to stay on the Superbike, we want to make a nice program. I want to do a nice season and be one of the guys who is always fighting for victories. So I'm gonna keep working on that, and if it happens, and if I have the same warmth from some of the sponsors that I previously had, it's gonna be quite interesting, and we are not going to delude anyone.
Also, you must remember that unfortunately we have a sport that people get injured. So maybe when you come to Miami, I would have like maybe plain red or white leathers with just your name, and then you could fill in for somebody if they happen to get injured. So make sure you have your leathers and a helmet.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Okay, you guys. Xavi, thank you very much. You're a gentleman as always. And it was fun having you in the championship, and I have a feeling we're going to see you again. So thank you.
I hope, fingers crossed. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Always a pleasure. Ciao, ciao.